All right, let's do it. Hey, Gavin.
I'm drinking.
We're always drinking.
Yes, true. Hi, Louie. How are you?
I'm drinking. Thank God.
This kind of tastes cola-y, in fact, with the black currant. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Ever heard of it? Elegance.
Luxury.
Sarassi crystals.
Sarassi crystals. Hi, we used to be porn stars. But not anymore.
If only. The OnlyFans that never will be.
Exactly.
I told Derek once, I was like, if we did OnlyFans, it would just be like us like under the covers. And like
adorable.
Just like, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like, turn off the light.
Yeah.
I need to finish this chapter.
Yeah, very much that.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Mixed Reviews.
Welcome.
It is another end of the year for us.
Yes.
It is 2020. I am older. Louie is somehow younger.
True.
I hate him. How's that painting in your attic doing, by the way?
I mean, the babies I eat are delicious. Top of the line.
Okay, Elizabeth, calm down. But we are a film podcast in which we take a film subject, such as an actor, director, and or a mini-genre, and we do a brief history that's not always so brief, and then we talk about the good, and we talk about the bad, and we watch so many movies.
Yeah, we take 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Watch as much as we can. And then we just discuss.
And let me tell you, we do the research. Yeah, very important.
The reviews, they're mixed. Gavin, have any little like 2020 visions? Any things that you're looking forward to?
Oh goodness, I am looking forward to so much. I think it's going to be a very good year for film. I hope so. I really look
personally awful. 2020 will be awful.
2020.
But the movies,
excellent. We're gonna go down in a blaze of glory, but we'll always have the pictures. But yeah, no, I'm very excited. I mean, even today there was just the release of the trailer for Kelly Reichardt's new film, First Cow, which I'm very excited for. Love Kelly Reichardt. Seen all of her films. Big Kelly Reichardt stan.
You've said her name 7 times now.
Exactly. I'm just trying to get our audience to remember her.
Kelly Reichardt.
It's also how I warm up my voice between each episode. Unique New York. Kelly Reichardt.
Very good. You sound amazing. Also, don't forget, New Mutants finally maybe will come out. Uh-oh.
That was going to be the next trailer I mentioned.
Okay, good. Yeah. It's Kelly Reichardt and then New Mutants.
And then Moo Newtons.
Moo Newtons is what I'm looking forward to.
I will admit, I'm a big comic book fan. If anybody knows me, I co-hosted the Midtown Comics podcast.
Nobody does.
No, nobody does. That's how I like it. I co-hosted the Midtown Comics podcast for over 2 years, and big comic book fan. And so, like, I can't say that part of me isn't a little excited to see those characters. And
who's the director?
Oh, it's directed by Josh Boone, who is the director of The Fault in Our Stars.
Oh my god. You guys.
I was also thinking, oh my god.
You guys.
Yeah.
Me and Gavin had the same reaction.
We did.
Oh my god.
Those were the same words.
Oh my god. You know what? The Fault, they're in my stars, okay?
Yeah.
My mutants, they're new. My knives, they're out.
They're out. They not wearing that sweater today, are you?
I'm not.
Did you leave it with Chris?
I mean, it's like dual custody. You know, it's our child.
But anyways, yes, I think 2020 is going to be a good year for movies. It's going to be an interesting year for movies. And I think especially some of the things that we saw in 2019 are going to change the path in which movies, are produced. I think you're going to see even more. I mean, what was it the other day? Netflix released like something like 60 movies that are going to come out next year through Netflix.
Their Twitter thread was like,
yeah.
I was like, this is an unbelievable amount of movies.
And so I think we're going to see a difference in the way movies are consumed. We're finally hitting that sort of breaking point. Yeah. And I think we're going to see a difference in the way movies are distributed as well. Actually, Lulu Wang, who was involved in the Directors Roundtable recently for The Hollywood Reporter, said this amazing thing about streaming and why she chose not to go the streaming route with The Farewell, because she wouldn't have been at that Directors Roundtable.
When you're an established filmmaker, you are a brand that they want to partner with to help build their own brand. But with newer filmmakers, newer voices, you don't have a brand. You need to build that brand. And I know now, because our film has been in the theaters for 4 months, You know, for a film that's 75-80% in Mandarin subtitled, but is an American film, you know, to even first of all get that finance, but then to have that play as an American film, 100% Asian American cast, to be seen as an American story and play in theaters for 4 months, and then for me to be at this table, I know for a fact that if I took that bigger, you know, the bigger money, that they wouldn't have the energy to put behind someone like me to build my brand when they have so many esteemed established directors that are also part of the conversation.
She thinks that there's still a premium of filmmaking, and especially we've seen like all of these discussions of, you know, Scorsese saying how he hates Marvel movies and superhero movies, blah, 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 and like what's true cinema. But what's also kind of fucking wild because his movie is literally, I mean, on one end of it, like Netflix fucking rolled out everything they could to make it feel like a big spectacle.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, girl, I watched it on my computer at home.
And it's 3.5 hours, so I'm sure you stopped it at some point.
Oh, absolutely, Henny. Yeah. I mean, like, you can throw it inside a Broadway theater all you want. You can reopen the Paris all you want for your movies, but 99% of the people that are going to consume that movie are not going to have that experience. And so you can like trick yourself into thinking that, oh, my movie's still high art and whatever. But it's like, no, girl, you're sitting right next to Atypical, and, you know, The Dragon Prince is, yes, what I watch at home on my queue.
And we're going to come back to Martin Scorsese's comments, definitely. I think that was a huge shakeup in the film world this year. But also, I think what's funny, too, is the name recognition goes a long way to sell those premium things, because I watched that full movie. I ended up really liking it. I do think it's a really interesting film, and I think it's most of the part that I loved is...
We're talking about The Irishman.
The Irishman, yeah.
We haven't said
most of the part that I love is the last hour, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
So like 2.5 hours before that are kind of iffy. But the thing that I think is interesting is, you know, there's other movies that came out of not even a comparable length, but say like The King, which was 2.5 hours or a little under, and I didn't even bother to watch it.
No.
And so that just goes to show you that I was attracted to the thing with Martin Scorsese's name.
Right. Well, also, I mean, I did not end up watching The Laundromat, but I know you did for our Antonio Banderas movie, and you did not like it.
No.
And it's funny, like, they had every name in the world attached to it.
Yeah.
And I don't think it did anything. Like, there's no conversation about that movie at all. It will just live in Netflix forever, and no one will think about it again.
It's so funny, too, because that movie was written by the same guy that wrote and directed The Report, the Adam Driver film for Amazon, which is another streaming service film, which was another film that I felt was really underserved by the way it was written and directed, and was like, this would have made a good documentary, but also I know nobody sees documentaries.
Well, that's funny, though. I mean, so, nice pivot point. I was thinking, man, so many documentaries before rarely get distribution, or they ever would. Like, and this year was the first year that I realized, oh my god, I get to see so many documentaries on Hulu, on Amazon, and on Netflix, especially on Netflix, and that are incredible, and, you know, give you new perspective to the world and insight. And I was like, half of these movies I would never have seen.
Right.
And no one would ever have seen. And so there's a point where, like, and especially now that we're in this culture of true crime and news and media consumption, it almost feels like we're entering this really great age of documentaries, not because the filmmaking is better. I think that filmmaking has always been very good.
Yeah.
It's about distribution.
Yeah.
And there are now more cheaper platforms for these smaller things to get out and be consumed by us.
And another point I want to make on that is the fact that the internet has made us so greedy about knowledge and information. And I think the way that people consume documentaries is very similar in the way that they consume podcasts, which you're listening to right now.
Hello.
And I think it's a want of information to sort of feed into, you know, things that you may not know and things that you want to learn. And so I'm not saying that all documentaries are a great learning tool, but I do think that some of them are sought out more for that reason and less for pure entertainment value.
Right. I mean, on the flip of that, but very closely on like the same side of the coin, is like things that you love. Like, I mean, when you saw this year, you know, documentaries about Aretha Franklin. You saw documentaries about Trixie Mattel.
Yeah.
Documentaries about Linda Ronstadt. Like, fandom and things that you love and that you want to know, feel closer to these people.
Yeah.
That is also, like, the search for more entertainment and knowledge about the things that you love. I think, with this distribution, you really get that. I mean, literally, Trixie Mattel has a documentary out that you can go see about her.
Independently financed, independently released.
Yeah,
and yeah.
And that just feels very brand new. You know, she knows that she has a fan base of people that want to see her, and now there is a place for that to be seen and consumed.
At 15, I moved in with my grandparents. And my grandpa was a country musician who played guitar. So that's how I got really interested in music when I was like 13 or 14. Sounds good. It never occurred to me to play music in drag because even though I've been playing guitar and singing and writing music for like 15 years, it didn't seem like it would fit with this.
Before we move into our rewind, this is all set up for this year and things that have happened in 2019. But on a dark side version of the exact thing you're talking about, Fame, is there's this amazing Hulu documentary. It was just outside my top 15. It's called Jawline. It's about a Instagram influencer named Austin Tester and sort of like his rise and fall. But it plays, at least to me, like a horror movie. This filmmaker, Liza Mandelup, who made one of the most convincing, scary movies I've seen in a long time. And it's just a documentary about fame.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's really interesting. I recommend you check it out. But once again, it's a streaming platform. It's right inside your home. It's very easy to access.
I just want to tell y'all guys, if you got a dream, you got to chase it. Don't let anyone's opinions affect you. Damn, that was such a terrible broadcast.
Speaking of horrifying movies, it's like that movie, then like Cats.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
You know,
talking about jawlines.
I know. Talk about 2019. We got digital fur technology.
It's going to be all the rage. I tell you, the second half of 2020, all the films are going to have digital fur technology.
Yeah. Can't wait for, Disney to start using it as well. They're going to make Lion King again, actually.
Yeah,
but now using digital fur technology.
This time it will be live action.
Yeah,
this will actually be live action.
Yeah.
But digital fur.
Totally.
I can't wait to see Blue Ivy as Nala in this version.
Oh,
yeah.
And she's in a sleigh.
Yeah.
She'll get an Oscar.
Exactly.
Beyonce will still not have an Oscar, but Blue
Ivy, yeah, absolutely.
Oh my god, are we asking for the Bayhive to come for us? Fuck.
No. Don't come for us. No. We love her.
We love her.
I will say Homecoming, which, speaking of documentaries, another amazing concert film that came out to Netflix. And one of the brilliant things is they really let Beyonce herself take the reins. It's like her conception, 100%. It's one of the best concert films I've seen in a very long time, and really worth watching. I think it's also somewhere in my 25. I rank every new movie I see because I'm a monster.
True.
But it's 24 on my 25. Yeah.
I mean, and you're right. I mean, that concert documentary, I mean, imagine putting out literally a year-old performance that overshadowed the current year's actual performances. Like,
absolutely. People
were enraptured. And it's great. Like, the way that they, edit it between the two nights and the music and, girls and gals and guys and everyone, around the world just, screamed their little fucking faces off when they saw Michelle and Kelly come up with that.
Oh, yeah.
Incredible.
My favorite moment of the entire thing. Solange just comes out.
I know.
Does the dance.
And they're such sisters.
Yes.
Well, they are, but also
but
the performance of it.
But they're believable as sisters.
Yeah. That's good casting with Solange.
Really good casting.
Whoever they got for Solange,
so
wonderful.
Wonderful. Hardly believe that she would beat Jay-Z up in an elevator. But anyways, that's enough of that intro. Let's move into our rewind.
The beginning of the year.
Yes.
I mean, I think coming into 2019, all I remember was people being like, "What the fuck is going to happen to Avengers?"
Yes,
that was
the big cliffhanger.
Yeah, but
and I was like, ugh, I don't care. Not because I don't like superhero movies. I just don't think Infinity War is a very good movie. But whatever.
Infinity War. I like Infinity War.
Yeah,
I think
know
it's better
you
than Endgame.
Interesting. I mean,
I know.
Endgame is a lot of fan service, but, I don't mind getting service.
You're disgusting. I feel like the beginning of the year, we had come off of, obviously, like, huge... I mean, we're still in the age of, like, superhero things.
Yeah.
We get... we knew Disney's takeover of Fox was coming. Like, it hadn't been hammered out, but, like...
But it was the big threat of the year. It was, yeah.
And we also... the threat...
It was!
I feel
Disney's
threatened.
Eating everything.
Yeah, attacked.
Thank you for listening to the Mixed Reviews, brought to you by Disney.
Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, we also get the announcement of Disney Plus coming.
Right.
And so it kind of felt like this big monster lumbering year that was coming at us. And, like, the head was, like, Mickey Mouse.
You're not wrong, and I think it did come... I mean, what was the study that was recently released that they had...
33% of all... every dollar or something.
And, like,
Disney.
80% of the blockbusters were Disney, and...
Yeah. I mean, at the beginning of the year, you still have your, like, kind of offbeat releases. We got another Jordan Peele movie.
Yes,
in Us,
which was still kind of surprising that it came out in February. I still think that's the bit of a shock. I'll be honest.
And I just saw Us like maybe a week ago. Freaky deaky shit.
Yeah. Do you have any idea what your first 2019 release of the year was
that I saw?
Yeah.
I feel like Gloria Bell's in there. Which I loved. I went and saw it at the Alamo and was just like, what does she say? She has that great line of like, if I'm going to go down, I'm going to go down dancing.
Besides, every generation thinks it's the end, the worst it's ever been.
And one generation will be right.
Well, when the world blows up, I hope I go down dancing.
Hey.
The movie delivers on it, It's... I remember going and Derek was like, man, it was so sad. And I was like, absolutely not. It was not sad. I was like, yeah, that guy's a piece of shit. And, maybe things don't turn out the way that you want them to, but you keep dancing. And that's what I took away from the movie.
Yeah.
Like, yes.
I think inherently it's a positive ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she, yeah, I mean, did we talk about this for Julianne Moore? No.
We had not seen it yet. Chris had seen it.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Chris File had seen it and we hadn't, but then I went and saw it and I was like, oh my God, like it's such a beautiful, and it shocked me that it was out already. Like it felt like such a weird time for it to come out. But that's one of my first memories of the year. What about you?
So my very first 2019 release was the Stephen Knight classic, Serenity.
That's right.
Friend of the show, Christy Puchko, who is a film critic, got a bunch of us together to go see it because she had already seen it twice at film festivals.
Horrifying.
Yeah, and it is...
On purpose?
Yeah, so bad. It's the Matthew McConaughey movie. It's him, Annie Haths, who has had a bad year, I will be honest.
Yeah.
And it's, it starts out like an erotic thriller and there's a big switch in the middle. I'm not going to tell you what it is because it's almost one of those things that even though it is bad, it kind of has to be seen to believe.
Yeah, I remember you told me off the pod and I was like, excuse me?
Yep. It's ridiculous and bad, but also if you need like a good time with friends. And that came out January 26th was when I saw it. Of 2019.
So, let's be here at 7. Just me, you, and the mother tuna.
I already told you. It's not worth the risk. I'm not gonna do it.
Please think about it, Mr. Dill.
It's okay, honey. Every man has his price.
That is a little horrifying. And also of note, I think like wasn't The Upside, remember that movie?
Oh, yes.
Was out.
A movie that we somehow both avoided for a Nicole Kidman episode.
We were like, no, thank you.
Yeah, we're like...
it made so much money, though. It made so much money.
Did it really?
Yeah. The Upside with Kevin Hart and Bryan Cranston.
Which is so funny because it also came around the time of the Kevin Hart's El Controversy, where he's like...
True. Yes.
He's like, I hate gays and I'm not willing to apologize for it, but also I love gays.
Well, the thing is, I think like that really speaks to middle America, you know, and I don't mean it as a shade or anything, but like Kevin Hart, if you're not on Twitter and you're not like, you know, like a Twitter gay who's like watching movies or whatever, if you see Bryan Cranston, who's very good actor, Nicole Kidman, same, and Kevin Hart, who's funny.
Yeah,
that's a date night movie, like, period. Like it would be naive to be like, like, no, that's just the fucking truth. And it worked. We also got a sequel to A Dog's Whatever.
Oh, yes. A Dog's Journey and then A Dog's Way Home. Yes.
So, and for whatever reason, I guess those make money somehow.
Dog's Purpose. So many dogs doing things. Dogs doing dishes.
Yes.
Dogs doing housework. I just need an army of dogs to keep my place clean.
Magic Dogs.
Magic Dogs.
Which is Magic Mike's.
Oh, yes.
Right.
And Snow Buddies 24.
Okay, but Snow Buddies. Okay, but truly the cinematic event of like that first quarter of the year has to be the Netflix Hulu rival Fire Fest documentaries that came out. And oh, what a glorious weekend. Oh, it warmed my heart so much.
To be that close to the fire?
Oh yeah. The fire was warming me, okay? I saw both with a group of friends and we just like clutched our pearls and could not believe this like cultural event had happened, and I had no idea what the fuck it was.
Really? I knew all about it, but once again, like I had seen like the news coastal elite on Twitter all the time. So
right, I'd seen the news of like the thing of it, but I had no idea like that apparently people when it was happening, like people were like, oh yeah, it was all over Instagram, and like I wanted to go. I was like, who am I following that like who are you following that you know what the fuck's going on? But a true cinematic peak, of course, was
you found out that guy wanted to suck dick?
That guy is a star.
Yeah.
Where's his Oscar? Okay.
I'm like, oh my gosh, and I got into my car to drive across the island to take one for the team. And I got to his office fully prepared to suck his dick.
Best supporting actor for wanting to suck dick for Evian. Hello. I think Netflix's one is By Fuck Jerry.
Yes.
Which was one of like the producers of the event. Yeah. And so they were able to like quote tell their side.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, it was Ja Rule.
This is like the Amy Fisher thing from the 90s. Listen, I'm old, so do you need me to explain the Amy Fisher thing to you?
I mean, I don't know if I want you to explain it, but if you want.
Amy Fisher was the Long Island Lolita. She was sleeping with an older man named Joey Buttafuoco, and she went to his wife's house and shot his wife, and she didn't die. And there was one week where there was 3 different television movies that came out, one produced by NBC, ABC, and Fox, I want to say, and 2 of them, one starred Alyssa Milano and one starred Drew fucking Barrymore.
That's a get.
Yeah, for a TV movie. And then the 3rd one, no one really remembers that girl. I'm so sorry. Please don't call us out.
Right.
But it was the television event of the 90s. I remember my mom watching all 3 of them.
I just can't believe that guy from Greece was involved.
Joey Buttafuoco. Yeah, sure. Long Island Lolita. Look her up.
In February,
you brought up Us.
Yeah. And it was the reaction to Us was a little more muted, I'd say, from Get Out.
I'll be perfectly honest. I named Get Out my favorite movie of the year it came out, and I didn't really love Us. I thought Lupita was amazing. Mm-hmm. I thought Winston Duke's thighs were amazing.
Scene stealers,
yeah, truly. I just didn't think the story was fully there. It never fully gelled. Please don't at me. I understand the story. I'm not a dummy. But like,
it's about Hands Across America.
It's about Hands Across America, clearly. It's a mix of Chud and Goonies and all those video cassettes at the beginning of the film. Got it.
Oh my god. In February also was when Gina Rodriguez had the starring Miss Bala.
Yes.
And she tried to I don't know, jump from... Listen, I watched Jane the Virgin. I can say this, okay? I love her on that. But this is not the vehicle to attach yourself to. It's a remake.
It's a remake of a film that came out back when I used to work at Filmmaker Magazine. So a film that's about a decade old.
Everyone's... Did you see that news? Spoiler alert. Not spoiler alert, but that they're going to try and remake Parasite, but in English?
Oh, yeah.
Horrifying.
Ugh.
Horrifying. Why?
Endgame comes out in May.
Which is like the kickoff.
Yes. May is the annual beginning of summer blockbuster. Unfortunately, we live in a weird time. As you mentioned, there's the saturation of the superhero market. We live in a weird time in which I feel like there really isn't a summer blockbuster saturation anymore. There's like 2 or 3 big films, but I feel like it used to be like 10.
Well, here's the thing. In 2019, I think it was the year of like blockbuster fucking fallout.
Right.
You know, they tried to give us Men in Black 4.
Right.
Flatline. They tried to redo Dark Phoenix. Flatline. Yeah. We do get a Captain Marvel in there.
Yes.
Earlier in the year.
And I actually think DC had a really good hit with a moderately sized, and I know that sounds insane because it was still expensive as fuck, but a moderately sized superhero film in Shazam.
Oh, right.
Which was a ton of fun, and actually, I really liked it. I recognize that even as a comic book fan, and maybe not the full-on audience, there was a lot of jokes in it that I felt skewed a little younger. It fell a little flat for me, but I was in an audience that was so in love with the movie that they were seeing that it kind of lifted it up in my esteem.
Right. Zachary Levi, right?
Yes.
He's a star.
Genuinely.
10,000 feet tall.
He had a great year, too, between that and Miss Maisel.
We also, around April, we got Aladdin.
Yes.
Before that, we got Dumbo.
Yeah. Oh, we did. We did get Dumbo.
So this was the year of, like, back-to-back-to-back Disney.
Because following Aladdin was Lion King.
Yeah. And they did their Disney best to get Lion King to become some sort of moment. And it made a butt ton of money.
It's now the highest grossing animated film ever. Because it is animated, sorry.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is.
Yeah.
But it feels like for all the push behind it, it just didn't really make that big of a splash.
No, it was kind of a critical bomb. And most people felt that the look, the stiffness, the lack of emotionality of the CG
lack of fun,
creations,
the lack of color.
Yeah, really took the fun, the aspect that made it a kids movie out of it.
Did you hear that? The future kid! Oh, don't hurt me. Oh, do it again.
If you ever come near my son again...
No, Mufasa. Never. Never again.
You've been warned, Shenzi.
And it's wild because the Broadway show was able to... is doing live action every day.
Right.
And honestly, seeing that would have been more interesting and exciting than whatever, this monstrosity.
But it's exactly what you said mere episodes ago. Nostalgia is for sale.
Yeah.
A lot of these companies, as you mentioned once again, we got a Men in Black sequel that no one wanted. We got a Dark Phoenix remake that nobody wanted.
We got Godzilla.
Which is another movie. And it's funny, I've said some things about blockbusters in this episode already. I watched it and I was like, oh, I kind of love this. Critics hated it. They were like, there wasn't enough character development. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, there wasn't enough character development in your giant monster movie.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I thought it was fun. Do I wish movies like that did not cost $100 million? Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no reason for that. But I had a lot of fun watching it.
We also got our first Fast and Furious spin-off,
yes.
Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if people watched. It feels like...
I believe it made enough money to make a sequel, so...
Hobbs and Shaw 2,
yeah.
Electric Boogaloo. We also got the weirdly timed Rocket Man around this time, which felt... It's unfortunate that it's coming right after the year of Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yes, especially involving the same director, which is not Bryan Singer. It's the director who took over for Bryan Singer to finish Bohemian Rhapsody. But once again, another movie I saw was completely charmed by. I ended up really liking it. I like the fact that it's much more it's an actual musical.
Right.
And that was a lot more fun. Do I think it's a little of a soft, gauzy look at Elton John's life?
Sure.
100%. Yeah. But I had some fun with that.
We also, continuing on the blockbuster sequels, we got another Spider-Man, Far From Home.
Yes, post Avengers, post the tragedy of Tony Stark. I love the fact that they waited a couple months and then were like, spoilers.
Yeah. I can't remember how Spider-Man Far From Home ended, but I know it was like a game changer.
Yeah, it was.
And we also got a Toy Story that I never saw.
I didn't see it either. It keeps, and it ended up last week. It was nominated at the Golden Globes. It didn't win, which I'm sure was actually kind of a huge blow to Pixar. But
so here's the thing. So, and I was thinking about this today. Imagine being Disney. Imagine having more money than God, and just being like, let's just make another one. Let's make another one. I can't imagine. How does money make you boring? I don't understand it.
Is yes. Well, that's
what do they have to lose?
Right.
What does Disney have to lose to be like, you know what? We are going to produce this new story. There are so many creative and exciting people out there who want new stories and are willing to do the work. And Disney's like, no, let's make a Frozen 2. Which, whatever. People love Frozen, and I'll at least say Frozen has more of a cultural impact than this new fucking Lion King remake. I guarantee that there are kids today that would still prefer to watch the old Lion King than the ones they made today. So, it just boggles the mind. And especially,
But I always come back to this with people, and I'm sure it's the same with corporations, which are not people, no matter what they try and tell you.
No matter what Mitt Romney says.
At what point is too much money? How much money do you need before you stop? Yeah, what is enough? And I'm sure for corporations, just as it is for people, the answer seems to be never.
Which is wild because, and I think we might have talked about this in an earlier episode, I can't remember, but Disney is infallible now. Nothing is going to bring Disney down.
Right.
They're going to be fine. They could lose $1 bajillion off of one movie and they'd be like, bad year. We'll get them next time, and they will be fine. No one's gonna lose their job. It's not gonna be tank the economy because Toy Story 6 makes $2.
If they do lose jobs, it's voluntary layoffs at this point.
Right, and it's just shocking. And I'm so glad that Missing Link won because Laika's movies have never recouped their budget.
Right,
never. Missing Link, which I just watched 2 days ago, which is a very meh movie.
Yeah, and especially in comparison to past things Laika has done. But
yeah, the budget for that movie was about $100 million, and it made about $20 million, and that's fucking psycho.
Yeah. And that's doing it for the love.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that Missing Link is or was the best animated movie of the year. I'm not saying that at all.
Right.
But at least, I don't know what the fuck Laika's money situation is, who's funding them, but they are taking swings and putting out new and exciting things out into the world, whereas it's man, Disney really just needs to remind kids to buy a Woody toy at the Disney store. We get it. It's fine.
This might be even a little too inside baseball, but I've been talking about this for a while. I don't understand, well, actually I do understand, but hypothetically I don't understand why other companies aren't going out and attempting to sue Disney based on antitrust monopoly laws. Mm-hmm. But the reason I know they're not, is because they want to do the same thing. If Universal could acquire Sony, or if Sony could acquire, one of the other big ones, they would. Because they all want to have a lock on the thing that makes the most money.
Right. And that's, we're headed towards it all. Peacock is coming soon. Disney Plus is here. I get it.
Well, this is the year of people I feel like finally caught on that they're I cut the cord cable and now I'm paying just as much for television as I did to pay a cable company to get so much more.
We're at the nadir of streaming and all that. All the articles and stuff came out about the streaming wars, this and that, what the fuck ever. But just if could Disney not just use Fox for their fun new things that aren't properties or whatever. Like, it just feels so insane. What do they have to lose?
I think this is a good transition point to bring up. Towards the end of the year, as we mentioned, Scorsese comes out with The Irishman, starts doing press. During the press tour, he famously compared superhero movies to theme park rides and said they're not cinema.
How do you say the value of a film that's like a theme park film, for example, the Marvel type pictures, where the theaters become amusement parks? That's a different experience, and I was saying earlier, it's not cinema, it's something else. Whether you go for that or not, but it is something else, and we shouldn't be invaded by it. And so that's a big issue. That's a big issue, and we need the theater owners to step up for that. You see, to allow theaters to show films that are narrative films. A narrative film could be one long take for 3 hours too.
He then had to write an op-ed to explain his position. I thought for the most part the op-ed was right. I think his assumptions about the movie North by Northwest don't align with my assumptions about the movie North by Northwest, which I think is really interesting because he is a scholar when it comes to cinema. He, finances foreign films. He does film preservation in a way that no other filmmaker does. So I don't ever want to say his interpretation is wrong. It's just very different than mine. But I will say this, and I think what was interesting and what's being lost a little bit about what he said, and I was thinking about this earlier, is that I believe part of what he's saying, too, is that the culture that surrounds these things, the popularity of these, have driven us to a point where we believe things are above criticism.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the idea of comparing them to theme park rides is essentially saying that. And to an extent, I agree. When you get on a theme park ride and you get off it, you either had fun or you didn't. You don't think too much about it. You don't say, oh, well, this thing didn't work for me, or this part of the ride. Like, no, you either fucking screamed your head off or you were bored. That's it. And I feel that's sort of what he's saying about these Marvel movies, is that you either sort of have to love them or you hate them, and that's it. And there's no middle ground. And I do think the internet culture has sort of engendered this society that believes that you can't think critically about the stuff you're consuming, which is sad because I think critically about the stuff I'm consuming all of the time. And I mean that about everything.
I'm critically consuming this drink.
Exactly. I was going to say books, TV shows, fucking food. You think about everything that you put into yourself. Why would you ever want to, one of my least favorite things is when people say like, oh yeah, you should just shut your brain off and watch it. I don't want to shut my brain off. I don't want to stop thinking about the thing. I like taking it in. I like being able to think about it.
Gross, Gavin.
I can always rely on you for a serious conversation. But no, and I think it's an interesting thing, and I think that's sort of what's being lost in his message, because I do feel like a lot of these superhero films have become a bit critic-proof. You can say all you want about them, good or bad, and it doesn't matter, because the people that want to see them will go see them. Right. I mean, I still see superhero movies.
You didn't go see... What was it?
Joker?
No one saw the Joker, Henny. Not in this room.
I was going to say, but they did, and that's the problem.
Right. I mean, it's funny, like, it's that thing of, are you so excited that you finally get to see these heroes that you love on the screen that no matter what, you're just going to, buy it. You're just going to buy it. I'm in. I'm all in because, oh, look, I get to see Ant-Man now as a character. And you don't... And you don't want to, you don't want that to go away.
Yeah.
I don't want there to not be my favorite hero on the screen anymore. So I'm not going to say bad things or not give money to that because I want to keep that coming.
Right.
And that's, I mean, I'm not a Star Wars person, but it feels like from what I barely know about what's going on in that realm of the fandom online, it just, this thing that you love and you want them to keep coming, but you are and I think I know, like, for a fact my sister is like, oh, we love Suicide Squad, we love, like, every comic book movie out there, her and her family, they love. I'm like, Claire, no, that sucked, like, and I love these characters too, but no, this is bad.
Right.
And it's okay that was bad. there can be bad comic book movies.
Right.
There are bad comics.
There are bad comics. And I think also a thing that's being lost in what Scorsese said is in his op-ed, he wrote about how he didn't grow up with these comic book characters. And if he had, he probably would be excited to see them.
Yeah.
And it's a cultural moment he has missed.
Right.
And I think that's true and fair and valid. But it seems there's this idea that there is this overarching consensus about art, about things that people should like and things people shouldn't like. And that's always,
silly.
It's silly. It rides everything from the binary of gender to, it's this idea that you can't ever think outside the box. And it's really unfortunate because it does seem more pervasive in 2019, and maybe that's something we can work on losing in 2020, that it's cooler to have a variety of ideas and a variety of experiences and a variety of stories.
I also wanted to point out, I just saw a big moneymaker from the summer was Good Boys.
Yes, it was a huge moneymaker, shockingly.
Yeah, and I think I read it was like, a high concept will really go a long way, and like the concept was like children cursing.
Right.
Did you watch this? I didn't.
I did not. I have friends who have told me it's very good.
I'm sure it's very funny.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking it, but
yeah,
it's of note that it made money.
Yeah. It just didn't pique my interest.
We had a third John Wick movie come out.
Yes, and I liked it better than the second one. So, and I know that's not a popular opinion, but I'm saying nice things. So, like, whatever. Just be happy I'm saying nice things.
Kind of in the same vein what we're talking about, we had Detective Pikachu come out this year.
Yes.
And I watched it, and I had friends being like, how was it? I watched it, I think, by myself. And how was it? I was like, you know what? It was cute seeing them on the screen. Was it good storytelling? No. But it was good seeing a little Pikachu and Bulbasaur, running around. That's kind of fun, but...
Because it was the first live-action Pokemon movie that's been made in America, I want to say.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's been other live-action.
I doubt there's been other live-action.
I mean, it's huge in Japan.
But
just like this podcast.
You know what? But, my personal Oscar goes to Rita Ora.
Yes.
For all of her contributions into the cinema this year.
Did she play Jigglypuff?
No, she didn't get the part.
Oh, no.
No, she tried, but no. She didn't have the range.
Day 42. After much trial and error, we perfected a stable method to extract Mewtwo's DNA.
It's Mewtwo. No, wait. Wait, Mewtwo came from this place?
Oh my god, are they going to let Jigglypuff sing the In Memoriam at the Oscars this year? They better.
Someone call her. Get her on. She might be busy. She might be busy. When we get to the fall, the more,
This is the start of award season.
Yeah.
Which only seems to get longer and longer every year.
Let me see.
We are currently in the midst of award season, which is even funnier.
Didn't the Oscar voting just finish?
Oh yes, and the Golden Globes were this past weekend, and shocking everybody with the upset that is 1917 as Best Picture for Best Dramatic Film. I went to the theater to see it yesterday. It's fine. I think Roger Deakins is an amazing cinematographer and does a really good job with the magic trick that is trying to maintain it as one shot. I think the story is kind of but Sam Mendes for you.
Sorry, rewinding a little bit, me and Derek went and saw Blinded by the Light.
Oh yes.
And he cried. It's a cute movie. It's by the director who did Bend It Like Beckham. And it's very firmly in the wheelhouse of movies I love. If you've listened to our last movie roundups, I'm always crying over a movie that has strong musical undertones. This movie didn't quite get all the way there for me. Sing Street, it is not, but it's in that same vein. It's very cute. Also, Downton Abbey came back.
Yes,
and the olds. They loved it.
They did.
They said, take thee to the theater.
It is one of those things where Downton Abbey is something I shared with my mom. So it is a warm blanket watching it, but I have never seen a film with such low stakes.
Oh, yeah.
It's literally the king and queen are coming. How will we ever be ready?
And it's a gorgeous house with an army of people.
Exactly. And also the best thing is there's an assassination plot at one point in it. And I was like, where did this come from? I was like, what are you doing, guys? But it is funny to watch, to just literally watch a 2-hour-long episode of that show that has, an extra $20 million involved in it. So It's just extra, everything's a little more opulent than it was.
Speaking of olds, we got another Rambo movie.
Yes.
We got another Terminator movie.
We did.
With some original flavors back in.
And what's annoying is you get both those things and you still don't get another Time Cop movie.
Nope. Hello? Where is it?
Where is it? JCVD. We need it.
I think the first like big kind of Oscar movie that broke out was Judy. The Return of Renee Zellweger. I don't know if the movie really broke out, but she did.
She did, and it deservedly so. The movie is not great, guys, and I recently watched it with my mom, nonetheless. Speaking of, hi, Catherine. But she is genuinely amazing in the film, and I'm very impressed because it's not even just about... In fact, I would say maybe the weakest part for Renee Zellweger was the singing because she just sounds like Renee Zellweger, but she's got the moves down, the speech pattern, the look, and I was surprised. I was really surprised.
You won't forget me, will you? Promise you won't.
In October, we get Joker.
Comes screaming right out the gate, wins the Golden Lion at the Venice Film Festival Awards, surprising everybody. That's one of those awards that you put in front of your film when you release it. So people were like, is this going to be the first DC film that has like a official Golden Lion winning? Like, I didn't see it.
Same.
I've seen both Taxi Driver and King of Comedy. They're great movies on their own. I don't need to do it again.
I just had no interest.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree with Scorsese. I've seen clips. Why do I need to see the full thing?
Beautiful gowns.
Beautiful gowns.
I'm not interested in Joaquin Phoenix as an actor. I'm not interested in mining the Joker as a character for entertainment.
Right.
Like, none of my boxes are checked in that movie. And there are people out there that this movie's for them, and good on you, and I'm happy and glad if you enjoyed it.
Right.
But,
and that's... I mean, that's the adult thing and that we're trying to say. There's a variety of opinions in the world, and if that floats your boat, good.
The reviews, they're mixed.
Yeah, exactly. But I agree. I just don't have any interest. It doesn't... A Joker origin story in any way, shape, or form never kind of grabs my attention. Mm-hmm. And I mean, isn't that what people loved about The Dark Knight? Is that the Joker didn't have an origin, was constantly lying about what he... like.
Well, that's the whole thing. Like, the Joker is supposed to be just chaos personified.
Right.
Like, you know, there's supposed to be no truth. It's just...
Right.
It's just the Joker. It's just, like, chaos. You cannot tell the truth. You cannot understand. There is no understanding.
Right.
He wants to watch the world burn.
Right.
Like, that's it.
I've said this before. Last year, the latest Halloween sequel came out, and there was this great moment towards the beginning that I really loved. Where they talked about how, you know, the two of the characters are podcasters and they come back to Laurie Strode to interview her. And she's like, yeah, that man murders 17 people. He's misunderstood. I have 2 divorces and I'm the basket case.
Yeah.
And that's why I think society at the moment, I don't know if we're at the tipping point of it. There's a huge heft of true crime podcasts. I'm not saying you're bad if you listen to them. I totally understand the urge to listen to them. I've listened to some myself. But I do find the ones that do have the tendency to glorify the perpetrator of the crimes seem to really suck people in. And I don't understand that. And I don't need to get into the mind of a killer.
Right.
But I do think that the story of the victims is really interesting, and they're often lost in so I think, I don't know, do I need to see that how the Joker became the Joker because society was bad to him?
Nah. On a happier note, I remember watching this movie with my mom over the holidays. We watched Dolomite Is My Name.
Yeah.
We had a lot of returns, I guess, this year. You know, we had Renee, and this one we had the return of Eddie Murphy, playing Rudy Ray Moore. And honestly, this movie is wholesome.
It is.
It is, you know, it's funny. It's, you know, I would not say that Rudy Ray Moore was a wholesome man.
No.
But
it's funny. I had this, watching it, I was like, I'm having a lot of fun. I really like this. But it reminds me of something. I feel like I've seen this before. Something... And finally, I looked it up, and it's the same writers as the movie Ed Wood.
Oh.
And I realized, this is Ed Wood. Maybe the big difference is, I don't think Ed Wood knew he was a con man. I think Rudy Ray Moore knows he's a con man.
Yeah. Divine Joy Randolph is a supporting actress in this movie, and she is just radiant.
Absolutely. Steals every scene she's in, which is incredibly difficult, especially working against a comedian who's been in the business for over 40 years.
Yeah, a comic legend.
Yeah.
Hey, bartender, how about a drink for the pretty girl?
Come on now, I know what the hell I am. I ain't pretty and I sure as hell ain't no goddamn girl. I'll have a daiquiri.
Your ass should be headlining here tomorrow night with that right hand you got. That's a hell of a fight.
Fight shit. You know, she can go on ahead and have his sorry ass. And his dangling ball sack. Fucking breath smell like mildew goddamn garlic. Maybe he shouldn't be spending that paycheck for all these runaround hussies when we got our son out here with holes in his breeches and shoes.
And I don't think I've ever seen Eddie Murphy play such a bombastic character, but play him with such tenderness. You know, I think sometimes Eddie Murphy can play a lot in like the Adam Sandler wheelhouse of comedy, where it's just like loud and in your face. And there's a time and place for that, you know. I'm not saying that that's always bad.
No,
but it was kind of like really shocking and surprising to see. You can tell that there's a lot of love in this movie and love for the community. Like towards the end, when they're going to the theater and they're really scared that people are going to hate their movie.
Yeah.
And that people are going to make fun of them for all their work they're doing. And critics be damned, the community shows up and they love him, they love them, and you get that spirit and that's what I love about I don't want to say niche movies, but like if you make movies for your community, they're going to show up and they're going to love you all the more for it. As opposed to like, you know, making movies for everybody, you know, right. It's just like there's no personality, there's no like heart in it. So yeah, that was one of the movies that like it ends and you're like, you just feel good. You feel good, and it's so shocking. Like you don't expect that from an Eddie Murphy vehicle, but here we are. This is also around the time that one of our favorite movies of the year comes out, Pain and Glory.
Absolutely. Which is funny because I will say, in terms of advertising, it didn't receive enough in America because I was recently at a New Year's Day brunch and we were talking about it and everybody was like, has that come out yet?
Oh, horrifying. Will Smith's like renaissance also continues. He's in Gemini Man, which just kind of continues the like, I don't want to say downfall, but Ang Lee's I don't know, grand experiment of filmmaking.
I mean, I think that's what it is I think Ang Lee has reached a point where he's just like, let's play. Yeah. You know, I've heard that it's like not that great of a movie, but as like a science experiment for how well you can pull off de-aging somebody.
Yeah. Parasite comes out later in the month. Jojo Rabbit, The Lighthouse. We got another Maleficent.
Yes.
Which I'm sure made a butt ton of money. We get another sequel in Zombieland, which I think came out way back in 2009.
Yes.
So almost
it's a decade.
Years. Yeah, 10 years later. Did you watch it?
I did. We went to the theater to see it for the zombie episode.
Oh, very good.
So, yeah. It was fun. The Zombieland movies are everything you expect them to be.
Yeah. Fair.
You get to the end of the year, you get prestige dramas. They're all coming out. We mentioned The Irishman, which went to Netflix, but had a significant amount of theater play, which is rare for a Netflix film.
I mean, significant for Netflix, I guess.
Right.
Like,
it never hit any of the big chains because they're still boycotting Netflix movies.
Right.
Yeah.
We also got Harriet, Motherless Brooklyn, which took what's-his-face 10,000 years to make, and then like
Edward Norton. Yeah.
Edward Norton, yeah. Sorry, Hanny. Marriage Story comes out quickly after The Irishman. It's kind of funny that Netflix was firing on all cylinders, right? They've set up Dolomite, Irishman, Marriage Story, and The Two Popes.
Yeah, and I know it was a bit of an outlier, but The King was also part of their big awards push.
Yeah, and it was like full saturation. They were like,
and they did also put forward American Factory, which is a new documentary that's on Netflix.
Yeah,
it's in my top 10. I highly recommend watching it.
It's kind of a horrifying watch.
Oh, it really is. It's definitely like a thesis about how capitalism will kill us all.
Yeah, My favorite part was like the Chinese people at the very beginning being like, "How old do you think these houses are?" And he's like, "Thousands of years." And she's like, "America's 200 years old."
Yes.
And I was like, "Whoo!" We get also Stephen King's Dr. Sleep.
Yes. Big year for Stephen King. I know that sounds made up. It is not.
No.
You got It Chapter 2. You got Dr. Sleep. You got Tall Grass. There's the Netflix one.
I cannot tell you.
Yeah, sure. Patrick Wilson needs work.
Oh, poor guy. Shia LaBeouf also coming back hard with Honey Boy, which is now streaming on Amazon.
Yeah, and to a lesser extent, Peanut Butter Falcon. Which was
Peanut Butter Falcon.
Yeah, which was an underseen sort of big indie hit.
One final reboot for the year, Charlie's Angels.
Yes.
Which,
the sad story of Charlie's Angels.
That well is dry, honey.
Yeah.
No one wanted it.
Yeah.
No one saw it.
Which bums me out because I do understand the thought process of getting a female filmmaker and giving her the reins and letting her do something with it. And I do love Kristen Stewart. I know that's sometimes not a popular thing to say, but like, she was the only person to sell it on. She's kind of a controversial figure when it comes to films anyways. And
she's not I think she's a good actress. I don't think she's good at selling movies.
Right.
I don't think she wants to.
And she even said in some of the interviews, because she made another film that came out very much about towards the end of the year about Gene Seberg, and she was doing the press rounds for that. And so people asked her about Charlie's Angels, and she's like, listen, I made this action movie, and yes, it's female-led, and yes, it's about female empowerment. I didn't expect every interview to be about, women in film. And it became this grander thing, and I think it pushed people away.
Yeah.
Because it stopped being fun.
Right. Yeah, it's, you hate to see it.
You hate to see it.
But we also get, like, Ford v. Ferrari, The Good Liar.
These are all Oscar baitities.
The Report, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
Yes, which I feel like came out and went. And, I mean, I keep hearing critics singing its praises, but...
Yeah, this is Marielle Heller's follow-up to Can You Forgive Me?
Yeah, and Tom Hanks maybe it's just Mr. Rogers' fatigue after the documentary last year, but...
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people still say that Tom Hanks is in the race for an Oscar, but whomst knows.
This piece will be for an issue about heroes. Do you consider yourself a hero?
I don't think of myself as a hero. No, not at all.
What about Mr. Rogers? Is he a hero?
I don't understand the question.
Well, there's you, Fred, and then there's the character you play, Mr. Rogers.
We got Knives Out.
Yeah. Which is fun because, like, I feel like that was not, outside of having everybody and their father in the film, wasn't really an awards push.
No. That was like a surprise.
Yeah, it was just a fun end of the year whodunit. I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I found, maybe a little inconsequential in the end, but
it's fun.
Yeah.
I also love, like, secret shitting on white people.
Yeah.
And that movie has a lot of it. It was also, I want to mention, a great year for POC and women filmmakers. We got Queen and Slim. What was the movie I just saw? Atlantics.
Yes. Maddie Diop, it's one of my favorite films of the year. It was my 7th favorite film of the year.
Spooky, but like in a very different way.
Yeah,
I was
in a really meaningful way. It had a message behind it, about immigration and fair workers' rights, and
it was beautiful. Also,
oh yeah,
like just looking at it, I was like, oh.
Well, it was. I mean, it had the same cinematographer as one of my other favorite films of the year, which was Portrait of a Lady on Fire, and that's Claire Methon. I doubt I'm saying that right. She's French, but Claire Methon? But genuinely a talent to watch. Her eye is flawless when it comes to making films. She also did Stranger by the Lake, which I don't know if you saw for our Queer Cinema episode.
I know that's a spooky gay shit.
Spooky and lots of sexy sex.
Early in the year, we got The Farewell from Lulu Wang.
Yes. A huge breakthrough. American independent film.
Yeah.
Yes, it is majorly in a foreign language. That doesn't make it any less American. It's a true immigrant story.
Get him, Jade.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie, like, fucked me up a little bit.
I loved it. Yeah.
Awkwafina is kind of like a revelation in it. That scene where she's talking about leaving China and just, like, not understanding and not understanding when, like, Grandpa died, and that's even just the way she says "nai."
Yeah.
You feel it in your heart. You feel it in her bones. It's just, oof. It's that movie got me. It's definitely one of my favorites of the year.
11th favorite film of the year for me.
I think it's in my top 10 for sure.
Visit from America. I went to school in the UK for many years.
Oh, that's cool.
Where do you live?
I'm in New York.
New York. I always want to visit New York. It's a very beautiful city.
Yeah, it's very beautiful. Question, do you know about my grandma's condition?
你们说的啥呀？
奶奶她在英国学习，所以她会说英文。
At the end of the holiday season, we get another Terrence Malick film.
Sure, hon.
We get another Jumanji.
Terrence Malick, who goes, yeah, the Holocaust is bad, but think of the Christians.
Hello? We also got another Jumanji film.
Yes.
Which...
directed by Terrence Malick.
Terrence Malick Jumanji film.
Sure. Video games and board games are bad, but think about the Christians.
Hello? Another return, speaking of, Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems.
Yes, in Uncut Gems. A surprise performance. I saw Uncut Gems. I really liked it. I will say this. I do not understand the award talk about Adam Sandler because I think he's good in the movie. I don't think he does anything extraordinary or above his means in that film. I mean, he has to scream most of it, you know. I think, you know, there's other standout performances in that
Kevin
movie.
Garnett.
Actually, genuinely, Kevin Garnett's really great in that movie.
There you go.
So, and in a way, like a true supporting performance because he has like maybe 3 or 4 scenes.
Excellent.
So,
give him all the awards. And then, of course, closing out the year, we had the 1-2 punch of Cats and Star Wars. I mean, I guess
you would be surprised how many cats there were in Star Wars.
Yeah, they were crazy. Like the dark side, the heavy side. Like, oh my god.
I will say, it did seem like most of the reviews of Star Wars left fans saying memories. Is that the song from Cats?
All Alone in the Moonlight.
Yeah.
I don't know. I saw Cats. It was.
Did you really?
Yes, I saw Cats.
Good for you.
The woman,
I'm glad someone did.
There was a woman behind us who the whole theater was laughing the whole way through. It's impossible not to. The woman behind us, she was like, "You guys are assholes!" Yelled at us.
Really?
And we all were like, "Ma'am, are you watching this? Are you seeing this? And you're not laughing?" Someone else was like, "What's so funny? I don't get it." And we were like, "Rebel Wilson just took off her own skin to reveal more skin underneath."
I mean, I understand theater etiquette. I get it, but I don't know.
Not for Cats.
Yeah, read the room. I mean,
truly, no, not on my watch. I forgot we also had Bombshell come out.
Oh yeah, that movie's real bad. That movie is in my 3rd least favorite film of the year.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And also Little Women. I saw Little Women on Christmas Day.
Did you really? Oh, yeah. What a sweet Christmas day you must have had.
It was great.
Well, I'm not a poet. I'm just a woman. And as a woman, there's no way for me to make my own money. Not enough to earn a living or to support my family. And if I had my own money, which I don't, that money would belong to my husband the moment we got married. And if we had children, they would be his, not mine. They would be his property. So don't sit there and tell me that marriage isn't an economic proposition, because it is. It may not be for you, but it most certainly is for me.
Forgot to mention Midsommar and MVP of the year, Florence Pugh, who is truly having just smash bang year.
And she genuinely, Midsommar is a movie I didn't even like, and I thought she was really great in it, I'll be honest. And no, I do think she is having a great year, and I think she's incredibly talented.
She's got that great voice.
Oh, genuinely. She has like a sweeter version of like young Kathleen Turner.
Yeah, I see that for sure. What's wild? So, Saoirse Ronan can do no wrong.
Yeah.
Luminous, Gorgina. I will say, until I was listening to another podcast that they said Amy is supposed to be the youngest woman.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I've never read the book. I'm not familiar with it. All these girls look the same age. Greta gave no fucks as far as like the aging of these women.
Yeah, it's funny. I did think that.
I thought Beth was the youngest one.
There's a scene where she's talking to Timothée Chalamet, Laurie, in Paris, and she says, "And me, in all of my 20 years," and then I like mentally started doing the math and was like, in that the first flashback that were like 7 years ago, and I was like, she's fucking 13 in the flashbacks. I was like, no,
it doesn't make sense,
honey.
And so like, if I had one gripe, it would be like the aging of them is very sus. But other than that, I mean, and that didn't even bother me that much. But truly, and thinking back, I was like, wow, when they were like, "You're too young to come out with us," and I was like, what do you mean? Because they're not explicit. They don't say like, "and you, the 7-year-old," like, or whatever.
Right.
I just thought they were all like girls from.
They developed very early in the March family.
I just thought they were like from 15 to 18 or something. I don't know. Girls. I guess that kind of brings us to the end of the year, right? Like,
yeah, and I think that's a pretty good place to bring us to now. I think there were. Let's talk about the year in film first before we get to our picks. I hate saying this, and I know it's not a popular opinion. I don't think it was a good year for American film. And I think that's where I'm at. I don't think it's a bad year for film altogether. In my top 10, I was surprised when I made it that there are only 2 English language films, and they're both documentaries.
Wow.
And I think it was a great year for, as you mentioned, female filmmakers. I think it was a great year for foreign language films. Other countries really showing us how it's done. And I don't know. I just wasn't that blown away by the output of the American films. I think the first English language movie in my top whatever is The Irishman at number 12.
Wow. I guess I kind of agree with you. It almost feels like between the scramble for like the content, and trying to, like be like, oh, we want to be uncontroversial but like woke at the same time, and like just really trying to cover all the bases to like satisfy all the things. It's just like such bland nothingness.
Yes.
As far as, traditional films or like our American studio films. I forgot to mention, and we talked about this, Long Shot came out earlier this year. It felt like there was a lot of moments where the American rom-com was going to like be back.
Yeah.
And then they all kind of like misfired. There was Isn't It Romantic, I think, with Rebel Wilson.
Which I liked,
And it never like really happened. Long Shot was maybe a little bit more successful, but didn't really make a huge impact.
As I said before on the show, I believe, Long Shot's one of the only movies I've ever seen that is solely a great middle act. And
I like that movie. I just think Charlize can do anything.
Oh, she's so great in it.
And she has weirdly good chemistry with, what's his face?
Seth Rogen,
yeah.
But I think she would have, great chemistry with a Fern.
True. I'd pay for that OnlyFans. OnlyFans? Yeah, I don't know. And it's weird, like going into this this award season, thinking about like all the things, like right now, like the BAFTA awards just came out, all fucking white people, all these men. The Golden Globes, same thing, and it's fucking crazy because in years prior, they would say like, oh well, there weren't that many female directors, or there weren't any like performances that were good for POC people. This year, there is literally no excuse.
Yeah.
There are so many good performances and directors that are like, and to
between Parasite and Pain and Glory and Us, and
I mean, even like Cynthia Erivo gave a really good performance in Harriet. You think about
did you fucking hear the BAFTAs asked her to perform?
I saw that. That's fucking psycho.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's them trying to like be like, oh look, we asked like a black person to perform. It's like, no, you fuckers. Like Lupita Nyong'o, who gave a great performance in Us. we didn't talk about Alfre Woodard and Clemency.
Yeah.
I have not seen this movie yet. I got lots of people to say that I should. And we talked about Queen and Slim. And then Atlantics. There's just a lot of... There's no excuse for people saying, like, there's not enough... there's a really great Vogue article about how it should be a all POC Best Actress race.
Yeah.
But because... Like, literally, the BAFTAs fucking nominated all these bombshell girls.
I know.
Which, I love Charlize. I love Nicole. I love Margot. But no.
And if you see that movie, the only one who deserves any sort of nomination is Margot Robbie.
Wow.
And it's still not great.
And to think, like, to be in a position to nominate, like, any best ofs, thinking about the year in film and not having, at minimum, Awkwafina in the conversation, not only because she's, like, it's a breakthrough, like, the historic, consequences of it, the story of Lulu and all, like, I haven't mentioned The Last Black Man in San Francisco.
Yeah.
The dearth of things, if we're talking about the culture, Bombshell's gonna come and go. It has already gone.
Yeah.
We are still talking about The Farewell and, like, the impact of that story, the performances, Parasite. Like, we will be talking about that movie for a long time. I will not be talking... I'm not going to be talking about The Irishman next year.
That's probably true.
Like, it's just
Parasite did come in higher than The Irishman for me, so...
Thinking, like, 1917, like, what?
Yeah.
Joker, like, well, there's an argument to be made that Joker made a big cultural impact. Fine, but there are other things, like an exciting Cynthia Erivo, that level of talent.
Yeah, I didn't see Harriet. I heard mixed things, regardless, but she is amazing.
Yeah, and to instead honor again, another Nicole Kidman performance, another. Margot,
once again, like, we've done episodes on Charlize, we've done episodes on Nicole. We love these people.
Yeah, it's just like this is not the cultural moment for them,
right?
It feels so weird. It feels so weird
and alienating.
Yeah,
even as I say this as a white individual. I know you are not white. Don't get up in arms.
I'm up in
Luis.
But an Ana de Armas.
But it feels detached from reality, or at least the reality I live in.
Completely detached. I mean, there's no way someone's gonna, like, look back on this year and be like, "Oh my God, that's the year Bombshell came out. What a ride!"
Yeah, exactly.
Thank God we gave some awards to these ladies. Like, no.
Yeah,
it's loca. But yeah. Should we move into some picks?
Absolutely. So let's start with our 1-star reviews. I'll be honest, I want to do, like, we've talked so much about the year. I kind of want to just do this very briefly.
Okay.
My 1-star review of the entire... And also, preface this by saying, we're not the Razzies. We hate the Razzies. We're not interested in kicking films while they're down, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's not the reason we're here. I hate those lists that are like, here are the worst films of the year. Last year, I didn't even feel comfortable saying the name of my least favorite film, so I mentioned a bigger film. But I have no qualms telling you the worst film of 2019 is still, and I mentioned this in our anniversary episode, Drunk Parents, starring Salma Hayek and Alec Baldwin.
Nothing broke the seal for you?
Nothing broke the seal. Like I said, there were close replicas starring Keanu Reeves, which I watched for the Keanu Reeves episode and didn't mention that much. Was my second to last. Bombshell was my third to last. Drunk Parents, offensive, stupid, bad, not worthy committed to film. It makes me sad that everyone wasted their time making it.
Mm-hmm.
Hundreds of people make a movie, not just one. I'm so mad at all of them.
All of you.
All of them. No, I just feel bad. I feel bad that they had to be involved in this project. That was so... It is just genuinely...
Garbage.
Where's my stuff? What have you done with my closet?
I made it into a panic room.
You can't do that, Carl. Remember, this is not your house.
Did you ever see the Jodie Foster movie?
And please put a shirt on.
I've been really nervous lately. People have been ringing the doorbell all day asking about the yard sale, and then I was really scared when I saw the video on the internet of you and Frank being kidnapped with the shotgun.
There's a video on the internet?
Nancy, you're the best part of it. You came across really real.
I was real, you dumb fuck!
My 1-star review is, it's the Disney sampler. Okay? It's Dumbo, Aladdin, and Lion King, and all what they stand for. I think I've said enough about them, but
I didn't see Lion King, so to me the most egregious one was maybe Dumbo, because it felt so soulless.
It's just like all of them, that all, similar to what you said, this is all money that could have been spent elsewhere. Beyonce deserves better.
Always.
But the actors... And then hearing the fucking stories about Disney wanting to give a spin-off to the White Prince.
The White Prince, who's in maybe a scene. And also the fact that the Aladdin himself hasn't gotten a role since.
Yeah,
hasn't been able to land a role. He had the lead in a massive...
The titular Aladdin.
He's the titular Aladdin. A multi-million-dollar film that made a ton of money.
Yeah. But
he's a POC, so...
yeah, totally. And it sucks. And I don't know, it's like this movie tourism of like, you know, big Disney company wants to make a movie about Middle Eastern prince.
Yeah.
Cast the dude and then kick him to the curb. Whatever, you made your money, we made ours.
I like it.
Of course you like it, boy. I made it.
I think that's me.
Strictly speaking, it's me. I mean, I did most of the work. You were just standing there. But I hear you.
But won't people recognize me?
Nobody will recognize you. That's how genie magic works. People see what they're told to see.
Right. Who am I?
Prince Ali.
From?
Duh. From Vaubois.
If we're going to do like a prognosticator thing, hopes for the future, it's truly that Disney will just decide, maybe we should just throw money at other things.
Yeah, absolutely. Cancer research. Anyway.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Anyway.
It's the cancer research arm of Disney.
I mean, it's coming, man. It's coming.
Oh, yeah. This chemo brought to you by Lady and the Tramp.
Oh, no. That's another thing that came out this year.
Yeah, sure was.
Truly a banner year. But, I mean, that was short and sweet, but I think it's time that we may old acquaintance be forgot.
Please.
Let's move into our 5-star reviews. So I have put out my annual, used to be top 10, now I do a top 15 video.
I watched it and I was like, 15?
Yeah. I started that last year.
Bonus.
I was going to do 20 this year and I was like, too much. This level of fuckery is far too much. Flammery. But so I do want to do real quick, just my top 5, just real quick. One Child Nation, it's a documentary on Amazon.
Horrifying.
So good, though.
It's on Amazon Prime right now.
Absolutely.
Watch it.
Fugue, it was my number 4 movie. It's a Polish film. It's by, and please forgive me, I can't even pronounce English language names. Agnieszka Szmokzinska.
That sounded right.
It sounds right. Yeah. Really good. She's this amazing filmmaker. She did this film a couple years ago about that was like a retelling of The Little Mermaid in like an 80s rock musical style.
Love that.
Yeah, called The Lure. This film, Fugue, is about a woman who has a fugue state. She loses all of her memories. 2 years later, her husband sees her on a daytime talk show, recognizes her, and tries to reintegrate her back into her life. This movie is hysterical and traumatic and beautiful and dramatic and just all these things. Dan can attest. The ending of the film triggered me in a way I was not expecting, and I just burst into tears.
Wow.
Because I don't know. It's really fascinating and really great. I highly recommend. I sadly don't think it really got a release. It spent a month on Mubi, which is a streaming platform.
Wow.
And that was it. My third film, Birds of Passage, which is a Colombian film. It's kind of about the drug trade, not really. It's like an analysis of family and an analysis about this very small portion of society, but is also very dreamlike and trippy and interesting, beautiful imagery. My number 2 was Temblores, which translates to Tremors. It's a Guatemalan queer film about a man who like goes to tell his family that he's leaving his family behind for his male lover, and his family like turns to the church, and the church basically goes about the process of trying to convert him from being a gay man back into a straight man. It's a really fascinating film. Guatemala essentially has no film industry at all. So it's really amazing this movie even got made, especially one that deals with such a subject matter from a very conservative society. I also think it's the only time I've ever seen a movie that really delves into the idea that hatred is a business and there is money to be made in homophobia and money to be made in fear. Wow. And I think the movie really understands that. And then my number one favorite film of the year, Almodovar's Pain and Glory. We talked about it during our Antonio Banderas episode. I'm so glad we did that episode. I'm so glad I saw this movie. I don't know if I've seen a movie that has like torn my heart out and stomped on it, fluffed it back into normal shape and stuck it back in my chest. Before
it is stunning.
It is absolutely stunning. It's gorgeous from its use of color, from its use of actors. I really think Antonio Banderas gives the career highlight performance and maybe the best performance of the year.
Yeah, agreed.
Even though they're never going to nominate him.
That's fucking bonkers.
Yeah, and yeah, it's touching, it's sweet, it's sad. It's about love in general, the old love, new love, the love of a parent, familial love, and the past and the way that it fades and the way that it informs your future.
Yeah, and about like coincidences.
Yeah,
and God, you're right. The way you said it, like putting your heart back in, because the ending of it, the breathtaking part of it is the ending where you're like, oh my God, my spirit is back.
Yes.
Because he does such a good job of breaking you down and like feeling so broken.
Yeah.
And then at the end, when there's a twist, not a twist, but there's something, and it just kind of like pumps the life back into you.
Yeah.
And how life marches on, pain and all.
It's one of those things where like sometimes people describe film as a triumph and you're like, what does that mean? What is your definition of a triumph?
Yeah.
But this movie is a triumph.
Yeah. I mean, in every sense, because, it's, that's the thing, when you watch it, you're like, oh, this is a great story and this is a great, everything's great about it. And then you think about like Almodovar making it and how connected he is to the story and his relationship with Antonio. And it's just like, yeah, it's great.
Federico.
Estoy en Madrid.
¿Y qué haces aquí?
He venido a ver a unos abogados por cuestión de una herencia. Me voy mañana por la noche. Me gustaría verte.
A mí también. Pero estaba ya en la cama. ¿Te importa si nos vemos mañana?
¿Te viene bien a mediodía? Por la tarde tengo la reunión con el abogado.
Perfecto, sí.
No te he preguntado cómo estás.
Viejo.
5 años más que yo, ni uno más.
So, Louis, what's your 5-star review?
I had this list of movies that I really liked, and I was like, I don't know, like, if I liked this one better than that one. Like, they all hit me differently. But movies that I remember affecting me and feeling very good or feeling something very strongly about when I watched them. Movie we didn't mention, Her Smell.
Really?
That movie gave me so much anxiety. Her Smell, which was written, produced, and directed by Alex Ross Perry, starring Elizabeth Moss and Cara Delevingne, among others. Amber Heard in this movie, who's so good.
I like Amber Heard, I do. So.
And she plays like a very Lady Gaga-esque character. I just thought that the movie, like, first of all, Elizabeth Moss is very committed, and she's doing very Courtney Love, and it's that thing where we talked about this, like, a character behaving badly, and you're like, oh fuck, there's gonna be a redemption thing, and I'm gonna have to like try and get on their side. And I was like, this bitch is very bad. She's not likable at all. But and it's a story about addiction, essentially, and the come around is so well done. And the ending of the movie really is like, addiction is always and ever lurking, and how could the thing that you love, and for her it's music, the thing you love sometimes is what fucking kills you, And in music and going on concerts and touring, there is drugs and there are seductions that things can drag you down, and she has to make a decision whether, you know, she's going to take care of herself or going to keep doing this thing that she loves. And I just thought thank God the movie ends the way it does. And yeah, I think it's kind of maybe one of the most like underseen, but like really
I think Twitter saw it. I see Twitter talking about it all the time.
I see Chris File talking about it all the time, and that's about it. We have to talk about Parasite.
Yeah,
we have.
Parasite's great.
I saw it by myself, and Derek was like, "You want to see it? It's kind of spooky," and I was like, "Shut the fuck up." And he was right. I mean, it shredded my nerves, but it's so good. I mean, we didn't mention this. That it was kind of the year of Eating the Rich, right?
Yeah.
A lot of movies talking about, you know, class and kind of the 99% going after the 1%. This movie is so smart and so funny.
Yeah.
And
it's another movie where I wouldn't describe it as a twist, but there is a change that occurs. I would say more than halfway through the film.
It's a revelation.
Yeah.
It's something is being revealed about in a very upfront and obvious way. There are a lot of like let's say Knives Out. Knives Out is kind of about the same thing, but it is not obviously about that. You know, Ana de Armas's character is not like, you know, out to get money from these rich people.
Right.
But the movie is about that.
Yeah.
And in Parasite, it is all about that. Like, and from the very beginning, when they show these people trying to get Wi-Fi from like the coffee shop next door, you know that they are trying to scam their way to get a little bit more out of life because they are truly at the bottom of the totem pole of life. All the performances are so good.
So good.
The sister, is my favorite.
Yeah,
Parasite.
Absolutely.
She was so good. I think the mom character is so funny. Yeah, God. I don't know what to say. I don't want to.
And real quick, just a plug for the filmmaking itself. The filmmaking on that movie is immaculate. It is so well planned. It's so well designed. I mean, the way things look. There's that door to the basement that just looks like an absolute void to the afterlife.
Yeah.
There's so many scenes in that film are so well choreographed, and I think that's. You know, people keep talking about all the other things that make that movie really great, but these are the subtle things that you maybe don't notice. I think it's spectacularly edited and just genuinely it's complete. It's the complete package.
Yeah, it's genuinely shocking. Like, when people ask me about it, I'm like, all I can say is it's like nothing I've ever seen before, and it's shocking. Not in a bad way, not in a scary way, not in a freaky way. It just is like, I don't know. It's almost satire. It's almost farce. I don't know. But my number one movie of the year, hands down, and this is a stupid pick, but I love it so much, is Booksmart.
It's not a stupid pick. That was in my top 20. Genuinely.
Directed by Olivia Wilde. Her first movie came out in the summer, I think. Yeah. Didn't make a lot of money. There was a big hoopla about it on Twitter, I guess, about how the studio did it wrong, blah, 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 whatever. It was supposed to be the next Superbad, and I watched it again last night, and I was thinking, like, why did people think it was the next Superbad, and why isn't it? People thought it was because it is young, raunchy teens talking about sex and antics around high school, but it is not Superbad because it is liberal as fuck.
Yeah.
It is fueled by politics. Literally every scene is, you know, just talking about choice and women's rights and, you know, going to school and like this movie is smart. Like, you know, and I like Superbad. I remember laughing at it, thinking it was great. This movie is not going for cheap.
Right.
And the wild thing is, though, I was laughing the entire time. I don't remember being at the theater. I mean, maybe that's a lie. Like, I had the same kind of theater reaction as when I went and saw Girls Trip.
I thought you were going to say Cats.
No. People were just like out of their seats, laughing, dying at how much fun Caitlin Dever and Beanie Feldstein are just having on screen. it feels, I mean, and this movie is all fantasy. Like, it's, no one's high school is like this, but, and no high school students are like this. No, they're not this smart. They're not this, but I think the filmmaking is very good. I was like, oh, there is style and personality in this actual filmmaking and what Olivia Wilde is doing. From the costumes to the music. Billie Lourdes, who is playing Gigi.
I was just going to say, my real standout, and there's so many good performances in this movie, is Billie Lourdes. She's so fucking good.
She is I read that they literally wrote her into more scenes because she was so good. And I think the main takeaway for me in the story is, as humans, we all like to like just label each other and we are only the thing. This movie posits we are more than one thing. Right. We can be lots of things. And that's like literally the whole of the story. It's like, yeah, I'm a girl who loves giving blowjobs, but yeah, I'm going to Yale. Right. Like, I'm a dumb jock, but I'm going to Stanford to play soccer.
Oh, please do not stop on my account. You know what? My badge is stuffed with diplomas. Soon it's going to be stuffed with job offers and glowing profiles and commendations from the governor. So while you guys were all studying AP hand jobs, I was kicking ass and busting curves. And I'm going to continue to do that at Yale next year. So I like my choices, and wherever you three are next year, I hope you do too.
I'm going to Yale too.
What?
I'm incredible at hand jobs, but I also got a 1560 on the SATs.
No, you didn't.
I got in early.
To Yale.
Uh-huh. Oh, Tanner, where are you going to school?
I'm playing soccer at Stanford.
Stanford University. What are you guys talking about? That's...
No, yeah, Stanford.
Stanford University.
Hey, I'm not going to college. I got recruited to go code for Google. I mean, it's not Apple, but the bennies are pretty tight, man, and it's mid-six figures, so I'm not complaining.
My boy.
I'm so proud of you.
It's my boy.
It's amazing.
Hey, you failed the 7th grade twice.
Rule of threes.
There are multifaceted things in people's lives. We can be more than one thing. And I think...
I feel like that goes back to the conversation I was having about criticism.
Yeah.
You know? Things can be more than one thing.
The movie is on Hulu. You can watch it 10,000 times a day. I think this is one of those movies that is going to become a cult classic. You know, it's just endlessly rewatchable. And I think we have a lot more from Caitlin Dever and Beanie Feldstein. And I'm so excited.
I think we have a lot more from Olivia Wilde.
Oh.
And I'm really interested to see what she follows it up with.
Yeah, same.
So that's great. Let's do our mixed reviews review real quick.
Okay.
So my 1-star review was 2019's Drunk Parents.
My 1-star review was the Disney bullshit
of 2019. My 5-star review was 2019's Pain and Glory.
Mine was 2019's Booksmart.
All right, let's move into our fast forward.
Looking forward to this year in movies. We still have the Oscars coming.
Absolutely. We just got through the Golden Globes, which are voted on by 60 fucking people.
Yeah.
So that's it. It makes me angrier every time I talk about it. I'm like, 60 people? It's a little more than that, but still.
I really hope that in this coming year we continue this awards be damned.
Yes.
I want the but this new kind of trajectory of women and POC filmmakers to just keep churning out these movies.
Yes.
Because I think
that was the other huge thing in my top 10 before I put it all together. You know, I didn't realize how many queer stories there were, how many stories of people of color, how many stories of women behind the camera. I said this last year. I wanted more, access for women filmmakers, and I really want to see where that's going. I think that there were some bounds this year. Maybe not in the awards track, unfortunately. They seem to be being ignored, but I think there were a lot of really amazing films made by women.
Yeah, and I think, we just have to keep flooding the market with it, because once that's the norm, it's okay that, should they be recognized? Absolutely. But once it's just normal to have female directors and, maybe this is Marielle Heller's, second big movie, I can't wait for her to have 10 movies.
Right.
And, like, it'll be just A-okay and fine, and she can be like all the other directors out there that it's like, yeah, I had a movie that came out and no one cared, and it was fine. I keep going. And we get more from, you know, Ava DuVernay, just more of these things. It's exciting to see, you know, we are seeing more of Janelle Monáe, the actress. We're seeing Daniel Kaluuya as the actor getting more starring roles.
Even things like Parasite, which we've mentioned many times already at this point, it's become one of the highest grossing foreign films of all time. More of that in the market. More, you know, more stories, more diverse stories brought to you by diverse people, exposing people to their stories, you know. And as you said before, it's not even about assimilation, but it's about understanding and becoming a better person by knowing other people's stories.
Yeah, and I think
nobody gets anything by closing themselves off.
Right, and I think, like we were mentioning, with this deluge of documentaries, like, I'm so excited and happy to, we mentioned One Child Nation, American Factory, there are
Jawline, I mean, just so many.
I saw one called Raising Hell, The Life and Times of Molly Ivins. So fun, so good.
Hail Satan, which came out this year.
Hail Satan was so good.
I knew that was one of yours, you know, that you love. Absolutely. There's so many. Edge of Democracy, really great film. The Great Hack, you know, I didn't feel like I learned that much because I'm always cynical about technology, but really fantastic, interesting film about how we're all being fucking brainwashed.
Derek's favorite film was Biggest Little Farm.
Biggest Little Farm, which is on Hulu now, I want to say.
So.
Yeah, so like literally you can find all of these amazing film experiences even in documentaries. I know that sounds crazy. It drives me insane when I see critics' top 10 of the year and they can't find one documentary that they think belongs amongst their films.
If there is one thing that we can do, I think, to, I don't want to say combat the streaming wars or whatever, it's like we have more access to more than ever. The least you can do is broaden your horizons.
Right.
You know, there are so many free things for you to consume. So maybe peel yourself away from your Disney Plus once in a while.
Right.
And I'm not saying, like, yeah, I'm watching Encore too, whatever. But, you know, there are so many good things out there. If you're already on Amazon Prime, why not watch these movies? If you're already on Hulu, why not watch these movies?
Right.
And so if there is one, you know, thing you're going to take away from, you know, oh, we're at this overload of stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe just broaden out a little bit, and you won't feel as like, well, I got to watch that other X-Men movie, you know, like, whatever.
And I completely agree. I think the theme for 2020 should be broadening your horizons. And to that, Louie, I say it has been a really excellent year to broadening our horizons. And I think that brings us to the natural conclusion of 2019.
Amen. Hallelujah. Bless up.
So you can find us, obviously you've been listening to us this whole time, but you can find us online and many, many places. You can find us on Twitter at The Mixed Reviews.
We're on Facebook, just type in The Mixed Reviews.
You can email us at reviewsmixed@gmail.com.
We're also on Instagram, _mixed_reviews. We have so much good content on there. Thank you, Gavin.
Sorry. Well, I mean, I don't want to take all the credit for it, but
but you should.
Okay. But it is fun to make a lot of that stuff. And also, if you want to listen to us, you can listen to us by subscribing to us on Apple Music, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, Google Play Music, iHeartMedia. And if you do listen to us on Apple Music, please rate and review us. Leave us a nice 5-star rating and review. Write something nice about us, and we'll read it on the air.
Yeah, and I want to know, what did we miss from this year? What were your favorite movies of the year?
Absolutely.
We didn't do a poll for the last episode because it just felt like the season was over.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, tell us about what we missed in our 2019 wrap-up, what we have to see. I know I still have a lot to watch.
Oh, yeah. The work is never done.
The work is never done, honeys. Not for our mixed reviewers. But we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks.
Absolutely.
Hope you had a great holiday season, a happy new year, and we'll be seeing you in 2020.
Here's to 2020.